Welcome to the Life Makeovers podcast. My name is Cindy D. Whitmer, and I am the Midlife Makeover Coach, helping you turn your midlife into your best life, one step at a time. Through powerful conversations, my own midlife roller coaster story, and over 3 decades of helping people transform their lives through counseling and coaching, I am on a mission to help you create your own definition of success and happiness. Thank you for being here. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Life Makeovers podcast. We're so glad that you're here with us today. And guess what? Today, the Life Makeovers podcast is 1 year old. Yay! Ooh, yes, that's right. 1 year ago, I started this podcast. I'd never done a podcast before. Didn't know really how to do it, wasn't sure what I was doing, and just followed followed the intuition, the still small voice, and it's evolved into more and more podcasts. So I'm proud to say this is episode 138. So if you've never left a review, please do so. Please like, follow, subscribe, and invite other people that you think would benefit from what we're doing here. And thank you so much for continuing to be a part of my Life Makeovers family. I really, really appreciate it. And one more thing before we get started, because those of you that are watching on YouTube can see I've got a lovely, wise guest with me today, and we'll get to her in just a millisecond. But I have something going on I've never done before, and I'm so excited about it, and I just want to make sure you know about it. And that is, I'm having a Black Friday coaching special going on right now. So it's basically 2 months, the last 2 months of the year, November, which here we are. It's November. Can we even believe it? So November and December for 2 months, I'm going to be hanging around in your universe in a deeper way if you want me to. I'm going to have a live group coaching / masterclass in November, another one in December. And I'm going to share an exclusive guide about how to be the leader in your own life with all of you who sign up. And I will open my Midlife Makeover coaching private community on Facebook and be offering lots of content and experiences. And then you guys can all vibe together and support each other in your journeys. And my hope is to really work on intensely clearing out your lives of all the stuff you don't need and the emotional baggage you're carrying. Clear it out these last couple of months of the year, and also get you building your confidence and creating stronger boundaries in your life, because I think those two pieces will set a strong stage for you to start your new year just rocking and rolling. And so that's my intention with this, is to spend these 2 months with you. And it only costs, are you ready? Drum roll, $197. Now, if any of you have ever priced coaching in your life, you know that is a steal. This is a true Black Friday bargain. So please take advantage of it. All you need to do is email me at cindy@cindydwhitmer.com. You can go to my website to find that contact information, or we'll have it in the show notes. And then put in the subject line, Black Friday Coaching Special. Black Friday Coaching Special. Make sure I've got your contact information, and I will get back to you and get you all signed up. It's going to be a great 2 months. I am so excited about it, so I hope you'll join me. Okay, enough of all of that. Let's get on to the real blessing of today. And that is that I have my dear friend, Alissa Bickar, with me today. She is the Consultress. And we met back in 2012, training together privately with Jack Canfield. And if you are living under a rock and don't know who Jack Canfield is, he is one of the founders of the Chicken Soup for the Soul book series, but is now more known for his success principles work. And we trained extensively with him, and fell in love with each other at the same time. I mean, as friends, of course, but because we're both married to other people. But
Yeah, agape, right? Agape is the type of love.
agape love. Yes, the agape love. Thank you. So, Alissa, thank you so much for being here. And on such a special day, my one year birthday with the podcast. Tell
Can
us
we
about
sing? I love to sing. Can I sing happy birthday to your Life Makeover podcast? Is that okay?
let's sing, everybody. Let's go. Get up and move.
Okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Life Makeover podcast. Happy birthday to you and us in tow. Yes. Congratulations, love. This is a really great milestone, and thank you for having me here with you for it.
Oh, thank you for being here. And thank you for that gift of song. I mean, who knew? Are you going to take it on the road soon or?
Singing is one of the things that makes me feel alive. So I do actually sing weekly with a choir. I revisited the passion after about 20 years of not singing once I graduated high school, and went on to other things. But it felt like I was breathing again. Once I found choir, I was like, oh my God, I'm not letting this go ever again.
Yes. And
But
you're also sharing a gem there because I heard you say you didn't let yourself sing for 20 years and this was a passion early on and now you've circled back around to it. And isn't this just part of the midlife journey, is circling back around, getting back in touch with or getting in touch with what we're newly passionate about. But it's
yeah,
so important to be happy is to
yeah,
get
amen.
what we're passionate about. So way to go on the singing.
Thank you. I mean, I didn't realize that I was missing it, to be honest. I was like, I'd like to sing. Maybe I'll go find something. And once I was immersed in like the harmonious sounds of all the sections blending together and creating, it brought back a feeling I did not know that I was missing. And so often, isn't that the case that, you get into something and it reminds you of the joy you once felt, or it reminds you of a time that, and it brings it back into your life in a more integrated way. I found that a lot during midlife. It's like the selecting and the cherry picking and the choosing. And that is just like a gathering up of all the things that have brought me joy. So yeah, now I feel like I am totally living #my best life.
Yay. Well, I think that is another wonderful point you made there. And that is that a lot of women tell me they don't know who they are anymore when they get to midlife. And I think it's part of that disconnection from who we were a long time ago. I mean, we were first, little human beings, little girls, teenagers, young women. We were people first, individuals first, and then came all the rest of it that become, of course, a wonderful part of our lives, whether it's partnership, marriage, children, careers, home ownership, whatever it all looks like. But then that core of who we are sometimes gets lost and we don't even know that we're missing parts of ourselves. So good for you. Yay. And I didn't really even give you a chance to introduce yourself. Sorry.
I introduced me.
The singing just, sent me to a new level.
Well, the Consultress is quite a title. What the Consultress is a business coach and a real estate investor. My life's work living and growing up in a family business and then working in the financial service industry kind of gave me a full broad spectrum look at what business looks like from all sorts of angles. And I participated in all those businesses in all sorts of ways. And what I have kind of metamorphosized for myself, I'm now paying forward in business fundamentals, strategy, execution, and accountability. I put in those success principles that we trained heavily on. I put it to work in my personal life, and I also put it to work in my business to, I don't see a separation between identity self and entrepreneur self. And also sometimes it's useful to take them apart to analyze, but altogether we are one cohesive human being. So taking a look at business from that perspective and bringing the principles of transformation into that tactical strategic zone. And also part of the finance piece is the language that I speak to help people gain prosperity. being a real estate investor, I kind of always love to talk shop in that way too. So all in, I am a lover of life. I get really fueled by talking about business. It's my passion, and helping people attain freedom and independence from that which traps them, even though sometimes it's themselves. Founders tend to be really big bottlenecks in their own growth. So I know the situation well. I've lived through it a whole bunch of times.
You bet, for sure. We are our own block sometimes to having that freedom and independence in our lives. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And sometimes we're conscious of it and sometimes we're not. Right. So, okay. So I love it with all that you're doing with the business coaching, real estate investing, the prosperity mindset work that you do with people. What is your favorite success principle? These are Jack Canfield's success principles we're talking about. There's a book called The Success Principles with 64 or 68 of them. Do you have a favorite that just you always come back to?
Yeah, there's two. There's the really public one that, without which we wouldn't have all the rest of them, which is take 100% responsibility.
Yep.
And, be that as it may, we are the captains of our own ship. We are the masters of our own destiny, should we choose to see life that way. And in fact, I found that most of my success and progress has come from wondering what the opportunity, this obstacle is. And in that way, my second and primarily my first favorite principle is ask, ask, ask. And the reason I love it is because I think we had a conversation once upon a time about being a classically trained female, how you're just supposed to provide and be helpful and useful to people. So a lot of women are innately wired, so to speak, to serve, but asking is a harder muscle to develop. And I believe that learning to ask, even though sometimes it's uncomfortable, it can feel really weird and vulnerable. It's important, because without verbalizing what your desires are, they stay secret. And success doesn't come from staying small or staying hidden.
For sure. Oh, yes. I love that. Yeah. I love how you called it a muscle, learning to ask, even giving ourselves permission to want for ourselves. So many women have told me their fear of being selfish if they go for what they want or they ask for what they need. And it's like, oh my goodness, we got to change that story in our heads for sure. For sure. Love it. Love it. So, so how's midlife going for you?
I mean, aside from the, gravity issue,
midlife gravity, whatever do you mean, Alissa?
I mean, I've always had a lot of junk in my trunk, but I think there's a little too much in there now. But midlife, I feel like, is going pretty swimmingly well. I'm learning how to confront my resistances and my limitations with grace, where when I was younger, I would hit those things and then bounce back off with a black eye, wondering like, what just hit me? So having some grace around knowing that there's limitations, knowing that there's fear, knowing that that's not something that's going to disappear. And I've learned that I don't make decisions from that place anymore. So when I hit those limits or I hit those pieces of resistance, I go, thank you for showing up. I wonder what this opportunity is, but I'm not going to freak out and pretend this is permanent. I'm not going to get lost in my, mental rabbit hole about what this means and if this is permanent, what that looks like, because that creates it. And had a lot of experience with knowing that it creates those situations I'm trying to avoid. And so I don't avoid it anymore. I go, okay. And then I wait. I have gained a lot of patience, and the waiting is the hardest part.
And grace, my God, way to go.
Yeah. Like, I think it's a Tom Petty song, right? Like, the waiting is the hardest part.
Yes. The waiting, are we going to sing again? Is the hardest part. I think you better do the singing.
Oh, I don't do a great Tom Petty, but the thing for me, I feel like in midlife that's been the coolest is like the owning of that like swell, and knowing that once I'm on the other side of it, I have clarity. But in the middle of it, you feel lost as hell. You just I feel like you don't know which way is up. Everything's in turmoil. And that to me has provided a lot of room for growth, because I can see now, having gone through that a couple of times, and sometimes I blew up life in the middle of those things, learning. You win some or learn some. And so that's what I did. I learned some. And now here I am in my mid 40s going, where do I go from here? I feel like I've done a bunch, and I've gotten a bunch of clarity, and I've moved some pretty hefty mountains. And I feel like I'm more excited now for the future than I have ever been before in my life.
That is awesome. Well, that I'm really on a mission to help women get there, where you're saying after the swell, after the stirring of the soup, like that they get on the other side and go, actually, these are the best years of my life so far, and I'm excited about the future. Which usually I hear the opposite. So I love what you're sharing here. Can you tell us a story of when you were in that swell, like a specific uh, time of transformation for you, and give us a little more intimate look inside your transformation? Would it be okay?
Yeah, sure. Um, I think I have two that come to mind that were like super powerful for me. The first one I will say, happened in my mid 30s. And that was, being trained in human potential training and being a facilitator of maximizing human potential. I realized that I was a career woman looking to maximize my potential, and I was going after building my business and everything. And I realized I had two humans at home that were starting to go to school. And I watched them come home. And because, once your eyes are open, sometimes you can't unsee the perspective that you've garnered. And
Right.
I watched them come home with the seedlings of the very potent weeds that I was helping people in their midlife weed out. I was helping people in business pull out some of these nonsense limitations and beliefs and mental structures that I'm like, that's the root of it right there. That thing this gorgeous human of mine just came home with and was like, well, I couldn't give my friend a hug because, and I was like, oh crap. I couldn't unsee the emotional landscape that they were in, and that they needed something that I was felt like I was uniquely qualified to provide. So I changed tack. I put my business on the side burner. At least I tried to. And I homeschooled my kids. I created a homeschool scout troop with a partner to make sure we were outside all the time, and literally changed me from the inside out because I saw a need to serve. I was outsourcing my humans. I'm a human potential trainer. What gives? So that was a 7-year learning curve. And
That's a long learning curve. So you recognize that you knew things about life that you wanted your children to have daily instruction, example, experience with, that you felt where they were going to school were not able to receive that. So
yeah,
you became their school teacher.
yeah. I mean, not to the, I'm sure they were getting some measure of it, but I
Sure.
never thought in my life I would want to homeschool. I was like, cool, kids are at school, I can build the business. Yeah. And then because I was sorely mistaken, because my heart was, breaking slowly. And I thought, well, okay, I am uniquely qualified to give them these fun, experiential, life-giving experiences. So, we did that. And I learned a lot about myself in that time too. In that initiative to get my kids outside and to be with them and to like really harvest them, help them grow poke through the ground and grow. I learned that I had not realized who I actually was in a lot of my foundational identity. Going outside every week and being outdoors with these children who had that natural wonder going on, I realized like, hey, this is me too. I've been stuck in the walls and wondering why I feel like a pigeon keep flying into windows in my life. But it's because I hadn't been outside as much. And so taking them out for hikes and being outdoors, I saw more of the local landscape I grew up in Long Island, New York. I saw more nature of Long Island in that first year of homeschooling than I had seen the previous 30 something. It was incredible. I saw,
Interesting how, in a way, you were more scheduled, but in another way, you were freer, actually, in your life. It actually opened up doors for you to put the business over here, to decide and find and uncover this real you that was waiting.
yeah,
Wow.
and
In a way you never dreamt it would.
right.
When you were at Jack Canfield training with human potential, you were not in the back of your head thinking, someday I'm going to have kids and someday I will homeschool them and someday I will use all this material that way. Right.
Right. No, not at all. Yeah,
But
it,
there it was. And
yep,
you
it happened.
responded. What I
Mhm.
loved, you responded. You really listened to your life and you responded.
Yeah, and it's not easy to heed that call because it's super quiet. It's like this gentle hum underneath the rest of the noise of life. And if you're not listening for it, or if you're not attuned to its frequency, it's very easy to dismiss. It's in fact, it's extremely easy to dismiss, that so much so that most people do.
Right. Or they don't
And
even know it at all. Right. And we all have it.
mhm, mhm.
Wow.
And being with my kids and dealing with, am I a peaceful parent, or am I a mean mom, or am I a school teacher, or am I an experiential troop leader? I played with all of these shoulds, or these assumptions, and I kind of took them all one by one and tipped them over and was like, do you belong here, yay or nay? And building that for myself, my kids got to watch me grow as they were growing. So there was no disconnect of like, I know everything, you know nothing, let me show you. It's more like, oh, you're interested in plumbing? My son took open the kitchen cabinet, the bathroom cabinets, and was like, Mom, I turned on the water and I can hear it, and I think it goes this way. And I'm like, yeah, man. Like, just as long as you're not taking it apart while the water's on. But um following their curiosity and helping them put things in their path that would help them to follow those breadcrumbs helped me to follow my own. And it's like, wow, yes, I am guide at the same time as like fully immersed participant.
Wow. So their curiosity and their wonder actually ignited your own even more too. What a win-win that turned out to be, huh?
Yeah. I
And at
mean,
first you probably weren't crazy about the idea on one level, right?
yeah, no, my revenue kind of
Well, yeah.
suffered a bit.
Yeah, we know what happens to that when we try to raise our own children.
Yes.
Exactly. Wow. So there's so much to pick apart with or pick from there. But yeah, I know you have another story too. That was another one that was not your choice, but boom, there it happened.
No. Yeah, exactly. So if you've noticed so far, like I go headlong into things. Like I decide the direction and then I'm like, I'll figure it out. And I go. So I got really used to that, and by my late 30s, I was clicking along, making uncommon decisions and having really cool life, and dealing with the emotional ups and downs, and like honoring that happens when you make atypical choices, is you're going to have experiences that aren't in the neat little box of life. And then my dad got diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer right after our inaugural trip to Disney with my kids, my husband, and my mom.
Wow.
And he had an episode while we were there, and my mom said, okay, we'll go Florida, we'll go back the winter in Florida, and she said, we'll figure it out. They came home less than a month later to see the New York team, and in those moments, like, my gut told me something really drastic was happening. And I've made uncommon choices, so I did as much educating as I could based on the situation, but I wasn't in the driver's seat. That was really not typical for me. In my life, I tend to be in the driver's seat. And to
Yeah.
find out that, you know, he had, from start to finish, from that moment until the day that he died, he had 9 months from our Florida trip.
Oh boy.
And I did not choose that. It happened to me, and I was like mad about it. I was super pissed. And I had no control. I only had influence, maybe. But leaning into that and like grieving as it came up, not letting myself believe that eventually it would all be fine. Like, I didn't try to trick myself into thinking like, okay, it's going to be okay, because a lot of times your support team wants you to hear that they're there for you, that eventually it will be okay. But in those moments, pushing the grief out or down or stuffing it is not helpful. So I grieved for 9 months, and I spent time with him, and I did stuff, and I realized how strong I was, that had been not latent, but not, I didn't showcase it per se. You know, I didn't tell people, look at me, how strong emotionally and how aligned I can be to hold people in tragedy and triumph. But I learned very quickly that I had a huge bandwidth, and that it wasn't going anywhere, that I had earned that through my life.
Mm. So the depth of your strength really became apparent to you.
Yep. Yep. And I learned how to grieve deeply. I mean, I grieved grandparents, which was another, you know, story, but the depth of this one that rocked me in my core. I came out of the other side of this tragedy just before COVID. And then the world got rocked to its core. And I was like, huh, I kind of just experienced that right here. So maybe the people that are getting rocked around right now, maybe I can be some strength for them. And I was sovereign in my choices, and I stood for what I believed in without being cocky and needing to get on and tell people what to think. But
Right.
what'd you say?
I said, and how to live, blah, blah,
Right.
blah.
Right. But it taught me that, like, that experience prepared me to help more people that were going through things. And I was already in this big unexpected rock and recovery process. So I was able to hold the whole disruption in the world a little bit differently because of that experience. And then, so here I am 3-4 years later thinking, if that, none of that ever happened to me, I'd still be stuck exactly where I was stuck, but it shook some shit loose for me. And I was able to move my family 5 hours west to a place where, by the way, my darling daughter, and I'm sure she'll review the tapes at some point, but she told me when we were outdoors once, Mom, I feel more like myself when I'm here. And I heard it and I identified with it. I'm like, yep. So we needed to move to a place that was more where our lifestyle was more ingrained in like nature rather so than neighborhood. So I moved our family. I got involved in real estate as an investor myself, rather so than just like the financial end of things or the business end of things. And I'm like, I'm put my money where my mouth is. Bought a home, bought a rental, got my kids situated. They decided to go to school after 7 years, yay. But none of that was possible if I had not realized the strength and the capacity that I had to hold difficult things and to do hard work. It just changed my entire perspective.
Wow. I respect you so much for that. You know, I'm so glad I met your dad years ago when I visited y'all in Long Island. Yeah, there's so much juice here. So one of the things, I mean, I'm a little overwhelmed. There's so much, but thank you for sharing those stories, both of those stories. And thank you for your willingness to be vulnerable. You know, we need to tell the truth about our lives and in the presence of others. And that's part of what this podcast is for. So you've experienced this blindsiding diagnosis of your father, and then watched the 9-month process that ultimately led to his physical death, and found the depth of your own strength in the honesty of your grief and the disruption, this swelling in your life, as you've referred to it, and all of that. So you let yourself feel. Listen, everybody, we need to let ourselves feel it, whatever it is. Whatever it is, you gotta feel it. Feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it, and realize, just as Alissa is articulating beautifully here, that is where the strength is found. Is you realize this isn't going to kill you. Like, it's going to shift you. So you might as well get on board and go for the ride that it is going to be. And it's a roller coaster ride. Like you said, it's not A to B. It's like curveball, backwards, forwards, round and round, sharp turns, then eventually getting to the new normal, whatever that is. But we don't go back. After grief, after dramatic change in our lives, we don't go back to before. We go to the new version of ourselves, the new version of our lives. And for you guys, it meant, hey, we're gonna pack it up. We're gonna move. We're heading to Pennsylvania now. The kids want to go back to public school now, or a private school, whatever they are. They're in school now, not homeschooled anymore. And you're shifting your professional focus as well. So you found the depth of your strength in your deepest abyss of despair. And you knew you could begin again or move forward from this. And now you're living the best years of your life so far, you said, and you believe that none of that would have been possible without that, what we would call very sad, we didn't want this to happen, disruption in your life, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, disruption is definitely my friend. And being that we live in the age of it, I feel uniquely qualified.
You're uniquely qualified. And like you said, it set you up to really help in the COVID world, to help people through that major disruption, which is another lesson I think life teaches us. One of the beauties of midlife is we've all been through stuff at this point. If you haven't been through stuff yet, you must be living alone in a cave somewhere far, far away. So you wouldn't be listening to this podcast, right? So we have learnings that we've accumulated at this point, and which serve us and we can serve others with. To me, that's one of the most beautiful things about midlife, is by now we are prepared in a way that we weren't when we were 20 or 10 or 30 or whatever. So yeah, wow. That's
experience is the best teacher. I have found that going through all of the ups and all of the downs and all of the ins and outs, sometimes it sucks in the moment. It's like working out. Like, you're not going to the gym going, I can't wait to suffer in that squat. No, you're not. But you love the strength and the endurance that you get afterwards. And like, that's the muscle, right? It's the experience muscle that teaches us how to have the grace. And if you choose to see it, again, the lesson itself is very simple and it's very foundational, but it might not be easy to access for people. It might not be accessible. So, partnering up with someone who has access to it, or just being friends with them, helps you to kind of see yourself in the mirror. I've got lots of people around me. I didn't do this by myself. I'm not, a superhero. I did this with a lot of community around me. I did this with a lot of friends in different conversations and different activities that forged me. So, I wouldn't be me without all of the people that have been in and with me along the journey and in my path, on my path. Even the people who, I butted heads with, they were there to teach me. So you can see everything as a blessing, or you can see everything as a curse. It's the same thing. It's a choice.
It's all how we choose to think about it, isn't it? And what we believe about it. And just want to reinforce that, yes, we don't have to go through life alone. Like, we don't have to go through life alone. There's all kinds of support. You all have people, or you're not seeing them if you don't know they're there. So no, you don't have to go it alone, and you can hire people to give you support in life. Yes, for those of you watching on YouTube, she has a plethora of photographs. She is now, the Vanna White move where you show the da 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 da, or the Price is Right people that show the prizes. She's showing her prize wall of photographs of loved ones there. I don't see my picture on there. Alissa, did you forget to put up my picture?
I don't have one, I don't think. We need to take one.
We haven't taken one in many years, many years. Before the midlife gravity, right?
Right.
Now that I definitely lost my train of thought there. Oh, you don't have to go it alone, people. You don't have to go it alone, but life requires work, right? Life requires us to be conscious about what's going on and how we're showing up and how we are managing the great days, the days that we wouldn't label great, and how we take those obstacles that come up and disruptions and turn them into opportunities, as you were mentioning earlier. What else do you want to say right now? Is there anything else?
Yeah, I think ever heard the phrase love or above?
Ooh, love or above. Tell me more. I do love that.
So there's a frequency, it's a picture that I've seen where the frequency of fear and anxiety and survival is all like very short wavelength stuff. And that as you grow, as you go up in the frequency scale, you get to satisfaction, you get to community, you get to love. And from love, then up there is joy and really just the most awesome stuff in life comes from the feelings of love and connectedness and joy and what have you. So just one thing I guess I would love to leave behind as like a thing to mentally chew on is that we've been trained as a human populace that we have to work it out. It has to be hard. And sometimes life is hard. And if you can find the fun in places, like you guys just witnessed me almost melt to tears at the same time as like cracking up almost to the point where I had to like physically move my face back down. So there, it can all be present at the same time. But if you look for the fun, if you look for the joy, so much more can happen from being in that space. So if we kind of put a little flag marker and okay, when I'm feeling joy, when I'm feeling like fun is happening, I'm being my best self. And that to me is the magnet. It's the thing that I'm like the anchor that I'm holding on to, going like, okay, in the world of finance, I put the fun in funding. Why? Because like, most people are like, finance. No, it doesn't have to be like that. We can make it fun. It can be fun as long as you come to the table with that fun. And when you're feeling in joy, look at how everything looks from that point. Just take a mental snapshot, because that is possible to grow. What you focus on expands. So focusing on that joy and that fun will help you expand it into your future, which is why I'm so excited for the rest of my life from here. So I didn't know that in my 30s. I know that now without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Yes. Yes, 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 and yes. I love that message. I love that message. And again, it's not to deny the tough times and when we feel the depth of the emotions. It's to understand that all of it can swim around in the pool together. We can have great joy in times where we are struggling. We can have fun. And when we are aligned with love and above, we're really in touch with our real selves there, because we truly are loving, caring, trusting beings. That's how we were made. That's how we came out of our mother's wombs, was as pure love. And that is our highest calling, right? Is to love. And that includes loving ourselves as well as others.
Primarily. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I could talk to you all day long, except you've got another meeting, I've got another meeting, we've got another meeting. But I am super, super grateful. Thank you so much for spending the podcast's first birthday with me, Alissa Bickar. Where can people find you if they'd like to be in touch?
So you can find me anywhere on social at Consultress. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Google Consultress, and you'll find me. My website is theconsultress.com, but it's basically just a calling card with my phone number on it. So you can find me and call me.
Well, thank you so much, my dear, dear, dear friend. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much. This was a gorgeous conversation. I really appreciate you having me. And, it was filling for me to be able to share with you some of this stuff in my life.
I'm so honored to have you. Thank you so much. Mwah. I will see you soon. And thank you all for listening today. I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Life Makeovers podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share this podcast with those that you think would also benefit from what we're doing here. And I will talk to you again soon.